Now, real quick before we start, a few weeks ago, Mattel brought back the tradition of making a holiday angel, and I was obsessed with it and really wanted to make it, and apparently everybody on Instagram wanted me to too. I had already bought all the fabric to make this dress that you're about to see me make right now. So if you want to see me make that dress, I will if you stop talking to your parents with so much attitude. And if I reach 2 million subscribers within a month. Okay, so basically, I'm gonna be a cheating little cheater and just use the pattern that I made for last year's Holiday Barbie dress and adjust it a little bit. If you have a problem with that, I don't care. I can do what I want because I'm sick and sad. Because right now I'm just killing time waiting for Joe to get here to say goodbye. Yes, Joe is leaving. That's kind of rude. You know why he's leaving me? No, he's leaving because the Air Force wants him.
So yeah, while Joe is leaving me, he's not leaving me. Sorry about the subtle deception.
There, I've done it. I've committed clickbait. What are you doing tomorrow, Joe?
I am moving.
Far away?
Yeah.
Say very.
Very.
You give the camera a kiss.
Yeah.
You pretend to wipe a tear.
Ultimately though, it's my fault. He had me help him sew some mandatory patch on his hat, and a better woman would have sewed it on sideways, so he'd get kicked out.
But I'll be able to visit him eventually, and in the meantime, I'm just gonna bury myself in work. That's right, my pain is your gain.
I began by tracing these zesty little pattern pieces I made last year, then making some adjustments that I shouldn't have made, because at this point I hadn't been able to get my hands on one of the dolls, so I couldn't recall what it actually looked like, and I didn't have the moral fortitude to look up a picture. I swear, this year's Holiday Barbie has been like that toy from Jingle All the Way that Arnold Schwarzenegger is trying to get for his kid. I went to 4 different stores, and Holiday Barbie would not show her pasty little face at any of them. Anyway, then I took a break because Joe came over.
We enjoyed our last hour together, then his mom stopped by to pour some liquid in his car and give him a hug. Not long after that, it was time for me to say goodbye. I saluted him, and then we hugged for approximately 7.5 hours, at which point he entered his sport utility vehicle and drove off into the sunset.
Except it was like 1 p.m. But anyway, just like that, a chapter of life was over. Joe was gone, and I was seemingly alone in the universe. Well, JJ and my dad came over that evening, but then...
I'm out now.
Why?
Change my grandmother's stockings.
What's funny about that, Dad?
At least I still have my dad. Except he's not here right now. He's in Las Vegas watching my sister crown the new Mrs. World. My roommate also moved out a week before Joe left, so life was a little weird. I now had all the time in the world to sit in a solitary sewing state. This is me making a spaghetti strap and sewing it onto my bodice. Then I concluded that the plain satin didn't spark enough joy, so I took the liberty of covering it with sparkly tulle.
You know what's fun? I did look at a picture of Holiday Barbie's dress like a week ago. Had it committed to memory.
I thought.
And then today I actually looked at a picture and it doesn't look like this. Oops. It looked like this. Ah.
So to fix that, I gather stitched the front into a sweetheart neckline, then sewed some 20 gauge wire all along the top to kind of then I entered a sickly and decrepit state.
You know, the best thing about being sick is definitely the really low singing voice that you have.
I would never fall in love.
Sorry, I don't want to get copyrighted, but you get the picture. So yeah, being sick, I lost several days of productivity.
We have a special announcement. Do you want to tell the camera, should I? My dad and I are gonna go get liposuction together.
Really looking forward to that.
Garen's gonna get some too.
Yeah, you guys know how it is. When you're sick, the only thing you have energy to do is start rumors and try to make people believe it.
Oh, Dad, should we tell her? My dad and I are getting liposuction.
Oh.
Now, I wanted to shake it up and make the skirt differently than I usually do this year. So I opted to make a gigantic circle skirt, which you can make too, using science and mathematics. But to make a really big circle skirt, you're not going to find a piece of fabric probably wide enough, so I had to make 2 half circles, 2 semicircles, as they say, they being semi-drivers.
Anyway, by this point I was feeling much healthier, so I went to the gym. I let my dad hang out at my house while I was gone, and when I returned, he had made several chairs out of styrofoam. You know what they say, boys will be boys.
And now to drape the skirt pieces out of tulle. Garion, stop. Please don't. Garion, you just pulled a Justin Timberlake Super Bowl move.
That scant covering you just saw was the humble beginnings of my pistachio shell dress. And what you see here is me tracing the circle skirt onto the tulle layers. Then I laid the semicircles on top of each other and sewed along the flat edges. Then I did a rolled hem on all 8 miles of the circumference of the bottom. Wow, science. Then I repeated that step on all of the tulle layers. Then I laid all those massive little red corneas on top of each other.
I have to take a break from what I'm doing right now to go
Wrestle?
at a wrestling match. My brother's throwing for his friend Brandon, but he doesn't have real wrestlers, so I'm gonna go fight. We picked up the guest of honor. You have any tips for me when I'm wrestling?
When you're in the ring with your opponent, want to put them in a headlock.
Can I pull her hair?
Yeah.
So why a wrestling party?
I want to be a pro wrestler full time.
And for that reason, Brandon's friend and my brother Micarah rented an entire venue with a wrestling ring for the evening. But why record all this?
And you'd want to be a YouTuber too, right?
Now, I was going to be fighting the ever-ferociously terrifying Courtney Markley. Upon arriving, we ran to the bathroom to practice for a few minutes so that we wouldn't risk actually killing each other. And at long last, it was time to do the dang thing.
Now, full disclosure, a lot of these moves weren't new to us because they're our go-to dance moves. In fact, this one we just did at a wedding a few weeks before. My friend Ashley got married, and we, and no one cared.
Can I pull her hair?
Yes, obviously, if this were real, I would not have won. Next up was the Camacho brothers. Now, they were not prepared to fight, and believe it or not, did not practice or plan anything at all. But they are the source of Courtney and I's wedding dance inspiration, and they were also homeschooled. And believe it or not, choreographing fake fights is actually how most homeschoolers spend majority of their afternoons growing up. Except maybe in the Markley household. I don't think their fights were choreographed or fake in the slightest. There was more fighting and hair pulling, and at last, the main event. And that was a fight between my brother Micah and the Brandon B.
Be a rough word. You must be tough. What you put them in their headlock?
Then I went backstage with WWE champion Brandon to ask how he felt about winning.
It was really cool at the best time ever.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon B can't be beat. His awesome reign of terror reached its ultimate crescendo with a stunning victory over Alexander Camacho.
Was this the best birthday ever?
Yep.
Who was the main winner of the night? Yeah.
I just want to say to you, Mom and Dad, I miss you so much. You were the best mom when I was all the way down. You picked me up. You'll always be in my heart, Mom and Dad. And we'll be up in heaven one day together.
You think she watched you win?
Yep.
It really was the best party ever. And I think maybe that's because there's no one quite as celebratable as you, Brandon. Now, I know Micah's your best friend, and rightfully so, but I'm super grateful and feel pretty lucky just to be one of your friends.
Happy birthday to you.
Well, even the best nights have to eventually come to an end. When I got home after that, I was feeling a little emotional and didn't want to be alone, so I made my dad stay and watch me cut out a bajillion flower petals. There were 6 petals, but each comprised of 3 layers. A fancy satin layer, a layer of fusible interfacing, and a cheaper satin layer. And 6 times 6 is 36, which means I cut out 36. Wait, it definitely was not that many. Ugh, you know, Joe is a math major. Speaking of Joe, at some point while making this skirt, I decided I need a carrot. You know, like a reward that you hold out in front of yourself to make yourself go faster. So I said to myself, if I get this skirt done tonight, I'm gonna drive 12 hours to see Joe tomorrow. It started to seem like an unachievable task for one night, but then I checked the Ohio forecast for the next week, and it's amazing what you can get done in a night.
Okay, I'm gonna drive now. It's gonna be the farthest I've ever driven alone. I'm gonna stop recording because my dad's staring at me. You know what you gotta do when you're stuck in a traffic jam? You gotta turn it into a traffic jam! Exercise. Let's write a rap.
You were in a 5-minute slowdown.
Stuck in a traffic jam on the way to see my man. Wish I was driving a Tesla, then I could use no hands. This traffic is giving me acne. Traffic jam, traffic schmam.
So along I pushed my pretty pink Prius through several states all the way down to an undisclosed location in the south, where I ran into Joe. What a coincidence. And I met his roommates. And they were really great, except they watched one of my videos in front of me, and that was one of the more uncomfortable experiences of my existence. I helped Joe settle in, and then I settled myself in. Yes, I bought a mattress. And now for the guest room reveal. I got some work done there, adding grommets to the back of my bodice while they trimmed loose threads off of their little camo work pajamas. And excitingly, Joe's car had problems and had to be taken to a shop, meaning he had to take the Barbie car to work, and I got to see a real-life military base. My G.I. Joe driving my Barbie car. You know, it's funny when you're a little kid, you have these unrealistic expectations of adulthood, but then you grow up and life is totally not different than what you expected. Then I embarked on my almost flawless journey home, which involved my precious little gas door refusing to open up. Luckily, the South is very hospitable and is full of these places where you can just walk in and take tools.
Ain't pretty, but it'll work. No, crap.
Don't worry, I promise I paid for the screwdriver.
Bad news, I was on the highway stuck in a traffic jam and I had to pee. Good news, I was recently given one of these. Bad news, I overfilled it and some got on my seat. Good news, I had just recently bought a bathroom rug, so I was able to use that to kind of... Let's go home. Okay, I don't know where I am, but it's super cute. I know it's in Kentucky. Clue. This is not a clue. I tried to wave someone down to ask, they didn't stop.
Florence, y'all. Cincinnati, Ohio. Find it here. Find what, you ask? Well, mostly upsetting things.
3 a.m. in the sky. I've been like this for a while. This is so weird. What is this, Aurora Borealis? If so, it's not as pretty. It's like more like Aurora Borealis. Ohio, how I missed you.
I got home at 4:30 and went to sleep. At 5 a.m., I was awoken by the sounds and feelings of wings flapping about my face. Could it be my sweet pet bird arriving to cuddle mommy? No, it was a bat. Correction, it was 2 bats. The first bat crawled under the bed when I tried to catch him, so I turned the light off and shut the door, hoping to coax him out. I waited till I once again heard the sound of wings fluttering, then re-entered to take back my territory. It didn't work.
You won. It's your room now.
I realized I needed help, someone to stand guard on the other side of the bed to keep him from flying away while I tried to catch him. The next morning, I awoke to wings, not flapping, but sitting patiently by my face. I gotta say, his patience surprised me because he used to tug on my eyelashes to wake me up. That evening, JJ and Courtney stopped by and I enlisted JJ to help me complete my mission. It was time to reclaim my kingdom. I'm sorry, but the audacity of the one just sitting on my pillow. That level of disrespect meant he had to go first. The other was granted temporary asylum.
I got you a present.
Christmas!
Just what you've always wanted.
Then I bravely and gracefully released him into the wild. On to bat number 2. He was hiding, playing some cheeky mind game with us.
There.
I said, okay, punk. You wanna play cat and mouse, do ya? Well, meow.
JJ needs to be a cameraman for National Geographic.
Okay, he's coming your way.
Aww.
5 minutes later, another bat was found.
This is either the 3rd bat or they just keep coming back in. So earlier today, my mom was bragging about how she's never had a bat in her house. We'll see about that. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
I feel legally obliged to tell you my mom usually looks way better than this. Also, I made her move from Florida to Ohio, so she lives a couple streets away from me now. Meaning it didn't take me long to get to her house, where I released the bat.
And we're back. Oh, I was only gonna make this video like 8 minutes long, and I know it's gonna be way more than 8 minutes long. I'm sorry.
It's like not my fault. My life is super interesting.
Anyway, let's get back to work. I feel like that's one impression literally everyone can do. Jennifer Coolidge. I wonder if she's related to Calvin Klein. At this time, we were gonna try to make a big poinsettia. I cut out some little like some pieces like this. Oh, wow. Really good at this.
Cut out several bird-sized sardine-shaped pieces. However many items are on the top shelf of your fridge, that's how many you should cut. Pinch them in the middle, the same way you'd pinch your love handles when trying to convince someone why you need the liposuction you're not actually going to get. Speaking of which...
Can we call Mike and tell him the news?
What's the news?
Hey, what's up?
We're getting liposuction together. No matter how skinny we get, still have love handles.
Quite pronounced.
I am pretty anti-plastic surgery generally, but in this case, it's about dang time. No, what's up?
That's all.
Hey, okay,
Hey.
Miles, I will be super careful. He's warning me to be careful in my cooking.
Dad and I are getting liposuction on our love handles.
What?
Did you almost kind of believe us?
Not really.
With no one believing us about the liposuction thing, doesn't it make you want to do it out of spite?
After plopping the poinsettia in place and securing the strap in the back, the human doll dress was done, and it was time to call every store within a 100-mile radius till I found a tiny human doll. And before the grand reveal of Christmas present, let's pay a visit to Holiday Barbies of Christmas past.
Hi.
Hi,
Do you want to be in the shot?
I'm Holiday Barbie.
I'm Halle Berry.
Christmas morning. Let's see what's under the tree. It's a Barbie. And green beans. Let's open it up. She copied my outfit. What a ripoff.
Time to go see Santa.
I've never had a real Barbie doll on my lap before.
Do you want to hold her?
I'll hold
Come on,
her.
Look at this.
So you from around here? Merry Christmas.
As I was preparing to leave, some stranger lady asked if she could get a picture of me on Santa's lap, at which point Santa asked if he could get a picture of me on his lap, mischievously stating, "I won't show this to Mrs. Claus." Oh, and here it looks like I'm about to smack this girl, but I was actually high-fiving.
That went pretty well. It's not every day that Santa asks for a picture with you on his own personal phone, so that's a success.
In the end, I'm not sure if I like this look quite as much as last year's. I was equally freezing at both. Please, Mattel, give us sleeves next year.
Did you put Gare? It's in my hair, straight from your derriere. Screenshot your favorite part of this video, post it to your Instagram story and tag me, and I will choose my favorite one and mail you, not a Holiday Barbie because I couldn't find any more. I'll mail you the headless body to one of the heads that is in my car.